I owe you one, classmate. So I didn't plan on delving into tax policy, although I think it's important when we're looking at the prospects of staving off a debt crisis and growing the economy, which reducing spending, growing the economy. Tax policy is inevitably and should be a conversation. But I think we got to get the facts right here, and I'm not sure the facts as I've heard them line up. As a Ways and Means Committee member, we brought in record revenue to the Treasury after the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. Dr. Faulkner, is that correct? We saw record R&D investment and capital, by trillions flowing from overseas to this country. And do you know why? Because we had the highest corporate tax rates in the free world and the not so free world. Like communist China had lower corporate tax rates than the United States of America. Listen, it's not the gospel of Jesus for me to suggest that a tax rate is at one point or another, but I can tell you this, just from West Texas common sense, we cannot grow this economy, and we cannot have our job creators in the United States be competitive if we have the highest tax rates in the world. Now, I would hope we could all agree on that, regardless of where we negotiate the right place. We're not even in, I don't even know that we're in the top quartile. Maybe we are. I think we're more in the middle now and not dead last. And it's amazing what TCJA did. Was it perfect? No. Like I said, I'm not dogmatic about it, but the lower rates for individuals benefited the lowest income families and individuals. That's a proven fact. The people who benefited on the individual tax rate side were those at the lower end. And here's another fact. The tax code is more progressive after TCJA than it was before. It's more progressive. We have more people at the higher income paying more taxes than at the lower income, and more people paying no taxes than there were before. That's just a fact. It may be inconvenient, but it's also probably inconvenient that after TCJA, and we reduced the tax burden on American families and job creators, that we had the lowest poverty rates in recorded history. Do you know that, Dr. Clausing, that we had the lowest poverty rates after we reduced taxes in this country on our working families and on businesses? Do you, yes or no, do you agree that we achieved the lowest poverty rates?
Poverty rates were going down in part because of the macroeconomy, but I think even the American Enterprise Institute analysis of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act would disagree with you on several of the points you just raised.
Okay, I'm not asking about several points, but the poverty rate was record low after TCJA. We had record corporate revenue to the Treasury. We had the lowest unemployment rate for women and minorities. These are all facts that happened, I think, in large part because of pro-growth policies from the previous administration. Not all related to tax cut, but America First Trade, deregulation, and the combination of those things, including, by the way, incentivizing people who are able to work. Not people who are not people who can't, but those who can work should work. And so because one of the big constraints for growth is a labor shortage, which is a whole nother conversation. But we're certainly not going to solve that when we're paying people more to stay home than to go back to work. And that's certainly what happened during ARPA and some of my Democrat colleagues and their policies, whether they intended that or not. Listen, I don't know a single person in this country that I've talked to who is well-informed, who believes that the level of indebtedness record for this country, that the fiscal path in terms of deficits and the projections from CBO of $120 trillion on top of the 34 believe this is sustainable and are not terrified at the prospect of a debt-related crisis. Not any objective or serious person believes that, including our Democrat witness from our fiscal State of the Union in this very room, Mark Zandi from Bloomberg Analytics, and other nonpartisans like our Comptroller General who worked under both Democrat and Republican. Every one of them said, and granted, Democrats have a different set of solutions and strategies. There's probably some middle ground, and then we have ours, but no one, and I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I'll end with it, no one thought that we were okay, that we could sustain the level of deficits and debt, and that there wouldn't be a payday someday, and one that would be irreparable and even catastrophic. I haven't met anybody that in this hearing room, at that dais, that witness table, saying anything to the contrary. With that, I yield back. I apologize.